Hi, everybody. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right, this one was called A Mess in Mississippi. Yes, Mess in Mississippi. I uh I really didn't like Mississippi. I really didn't. So because I don't know, man, I don't know what it was, but I really didn't like Mississippi. So one day I met a girl from Mississippi, you know, and we were dating. So she came out for a couple of days and stayed here in Memphis with me. And then it was time for her to go home. She needed me to drop her off. And I didn't like Mississippi. So I said, well, okay, all right, I'll drop you off. So we got prepared to go, and I was waiting around, waiting around, waiting around. Then it started getting late in the evening. So I told her, I said, look, let's go. So we got in the car, and I was driving a '96 Chevy Corsica, you know, Corsica. But I had two cars at the time, and I had a '96 Crown Vic too. That was Vicky. That was what I named her, and that's a long story there, right there. Vicky is a long story, but I would prefer to have driven her, but I instead drove the Corsica. So we got in the car and we set out driving, set it out. You know, we driving and driving, and then I ended up getting on uh, Interstate 72. So it was a straight shot on. If I got on 72, it was a straight shot. So I got on 72 and headed straight on out. So we was driving and driving and driving, talking, laughing and joking, just driving, 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 and then like in it was it took about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of driving, and then we got into Corinth, Mississippi. Yeah, that's where she lived, at Corinth. So after uh after I dropped her off in Corinth, Mississippi, it was dark then, pretty much dark then. So so I said, okay, bye, and then I left. So I started coming back, and my car started acting funny. It was like it was making a clacking sound. Clack. My engine was knocking. So I thought I needed oil, you know, but there was nowhere to stop. Like when I was going back. So my thing is, I didn't want to shut the engine off, you know, because it was clacking loud. It was clack, 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 clack. So it was clacking loud. So I started driving, driving, driving. So it was clacking so loud that I ended up had to call my sister. But at the time, I had this crappy phone. This phone couldn't see if you got out of the Memphis area, it wouldn't work. It would not work. You couldn't get a connection or nothing like that. So I was kept driving, and then finally I was able. Then it started raining real bad. It was torrential rain. So I was still driving. And luckily the car wasn't losing power, but it was just clacking loud. So I've tried to call my sister again. Tried to call her. No, no, no connection. Then finally, I just start ignoring the sound. I said, forget the sound. I'm just driving. I just want this car to make me back home, you know. So I was driving and driving. Then clacking sound got louder. So I knew it was a matter of time when the car was going to cut off, you know. Yes, I knew it was a matter of time. So I kept driving. And then uh, I suddenly got a connection. So I was able to talk to my sister. I said, hey, man, I don't think I'm going to make it home, man. But, you know, I'm gonna make it as far as I can. But I want you to stay woke and everything, and be able to come and get me if my car don't make it, you know. And she said, well, what's wrong? I said, that don't make a difference right there. And then my battery was running out. My battery's running out. So I said, hey, my battery's running out on this phone. I'll I'll call you when I get there, or when I get close. If it stopped before then, I'll call you. And she said, okay. So I hung up. So then it was clacking loud. Then all of a sudden I came up on, I think it was Summer or Poplar Street or something. Anywhere US 72 starts at, or it was Walnut Grove or something like that. So when I started coming up on that, and I saw Walnut Grove. I think it was Walnut Grove. So I saw Walnut Grove, and I said, hey, okay, I'm there. Now, only if you could hang on, girl. Hang on, girl. I forget what I named that, but we driving. I'm driving. It's raining bad, raining terrible. And then I was getting close to my residence then. Once I got that close, I knew it was cool then. I knew I was safe. So I start driving, and then I was getting a block away from the house, and then I ended up coasting into the driveway, and when I drove in the driveway, it cut off, and it's smoke and everything. And I said, "What in the world's wrong with this car?" I said, "Forget it." I got up and went in the house. Next morning, I woke up, went out and to check the car, and I noticed that it had thrown a rod. It had, it threw the rod, So that was it for it. So I had to go in the garage and pull my other car out, you know. Then I cleaned it up and everything. And I forgot why I stopped driving that car. But it didn't matter now then, as long as it was drivable, you know. So, man, I'm telling you, man, Mississippi, I have a problem with Mississippi. Every time I go out there, something happens to my car, or I get pulled over, or something like that. It's something like that. So that's why I never go to Mississippi. Mm, 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 mm. That's why I never go to Mississippi. You know, I guess Mississippi's probably a nice state, but it's not for me. Okay. Okay, y'all. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share. Share my videos with your family. Share my videos with your friends. Share my videos with your loved ones. And even share it with your enemies. Okay. Peace. Adios. Salamat.